All right, back to the other big story today. New signs of a communications breakdown inside the Obama administration during the hours of the Benghazi terror attack. Here's what we can tell you. Emails that were shared with Fox News suggest that top counterterrorism officials felt cut out of the loop on the night of those 4 murders. National security correspondent Jennifer Griffin is live at the penthouse. Jennifer, good morning to you. What's the latest here?
The penthouse known as the Pentagon, Martha. Senior counterterrorism officials felt cut out of the loop the night of the attack on the Benghazi consulate, according to emails that were shared with Fox News by military sources who are familiar with the discussions of how to respond the night of the September 11th attack. Top State Department officials decided not to send an interagency rapid response unit designed to respond to terrorist attacks known as a FEST team, a Foreign Emergency Support Team. This team from the State Department and CIA has a military Joint Special Operations Command element to it and has been routinely deployed to assist in investigations, for instance, after the USS Cole bombing and the bombings at the U.S. embassies in Kenya and Tanzania. That team, these counterterrorism officials argue, could have helped the FBI gain access to the site in Benghazi faster than the 24 days that it eventually needed. The State Department says a FEST team wouldn't have done any good. National Security spokesman Tommy Vietor gave this explanation, quote, "The most senior people in government worked on this issue from the minute it happened. That includes the Secretary of Defense, Chairman of the Joint Chiefs, Secretary of State, National Security Advisor, etc." Fox News has learned that U.S. military intelligence was reporting as early as 7 p.m. Eastern, less than 4 hours after the attack began, that Ansar al-Sharia carried out the attack. The intelligence was relayed to the military with no caveats, according to a source familiar with the intelligence. Further, 2 State Department cables show that Stevens' team warned Washington that at 6:43 a.m. in the morning, they had concerns that members of the Libyan police sent to guard them were photographing the compound. Quote, "This person was photographing the inside of the U.S. Special Mission, and furthermore, this person was part of the police unit sent to protect the mission." U.S. intelligence officials confirmed to Fox that, in fact, there were reports from the ground in Benghazi 3 hours before the attack on the consulate that a Libyan militia was gathering weapons and gathering steam. That was 3 hours before the consulate was attacked at 9:47 p.m. on September 11th.
Boy, there's just so much coming out in all of this, and in large part thanks to you, Jennifer. Has the White House said why that sort of joint counterterrorism effort known as FEST was not deployed, since it has been deployed in similar situations before?
The White House has not. The State Department has given an explanation that FEST is normally used when an embassy communications is compromised and to reestablish communications as they needed to do on the ground after the embassy attacks in Africa. And they say because the embassy in Tripoli was not compromised, they still had a working embassy. They didn't feel that they needed the FEST team. So that the State Department says that the FEST team would not have helped the night of the attack. But what officials that I've spoken to who are familiar with how FEST teams work say is that they really would have been helpful in the days after, helping the FBI get on the ground and get access to the consulate where there were still documents lying around, et cetera. It took them 24 days to get there. And
that report that someone who was supposed to be helping them was photographing the consulate is also very unnerving, because it appeared in the early reports that we got on all of this that they seemed to know quite a bit about where everybody was, including, the consulate and also that other annex, and it raises a lot of questions about whether or not there was an inside job element to all of this, right, Jennifer?
Well, that's right. And the other interesting thing that has come out from the CIA timeline that was provided yesterday to reporters, Fox was not invited to that briefing, but the CIA timeline suggests that the quick reaction force that came from Tripoli, which was made up of a CIA element, got delayed at the airport for 3 hours and 15 minutes while they were waiting for a Libyan escort and for vehicles and weapons. That was a crucial number of hours that team could have helped the team at the CIA annex.
Yeah, and I believe Glenn Doherty was part of that team. Jennifer,